changing the atmosphere, architecture unfamiliar. I can get used to this. Yellow and green, stick around and you see what I mean. There's a mountain top that I'm dreaming of. If you need me, you know that I'll be riding shotgun.
See myself. Huh? I can't see myself. Huh?
我也不知道为什么看不见呀。
Shotgun underneath the hot sun.
嗯， 哎，我这电脑为什么看不见自己啊？
看不见谁？ Hello. My name is Zoe. Good afternoon.
There's a mountain top that I'm dreaming of. If you need me to know, I'll be riding shotgun underneath the hot sun, feeling like a someone. I'll be riding shotgun underneath the hot sun, feeling like a someone. I'll be riding shotgun underneath the hot sun.
Good evening, everyone. This is an awesome turnout. So excited to see you all. Parents and new wolves at Allegiance, we're super excited that you're here. We have some staff on here, so I'm gonna make some quick introductions. And yeah, then we'll jump in. We got a lot of information for you guys. Wolves, I'm glad you guys are here. You can see a little bit about your school. I wish we could show it to you in person right now, but as soon as we can, we will. So this is the best option we can come up with at this time. But on this call are Tammy Lohop. Ms. Lohop is your school principal. She's waving in the screen there. I think if you speak, Tammy, for most people will be able to, let me unmute you. There you go.
You can find me.
There you go.
Welcome, everybody. We're really excited you're here. This is quite a new adventure for all of us, I think. So just welcome. Just know that regardless of the way we get started here, it's going to be an amazing year.
Absolutely. Thank you, Ms. Lohop. Also, we have our office manager, Ms. Diana Urbina, who helped put together some of the content for tonight.
Hi, everyone. Welcome.
And we may have other staff. If you guys see any others, let me know and we'll introduce them as well. So we have some slides we want to share. We have a lot of information. There's more information on the slides than we'll probably go over tonight. But just to kind of give you an idea of just how much info is there to kind of introduce you to the school. Again, normally we would be walking you.
为什么我是黑的，别人都不是黑的？
I'm gonna, if you can mute yourself, I'm gonna mute us all just so everyone can have an easier time hearing. And then we will have questions and answers at the end and so on. it might be a little bland for our kiddos to hang on the whole time, but we'll do our best. We'll do my best to entertain them. So we'll go from there. But we do have room for questions and answers at the end. We know we're going to throw a lot of info at you, but just to kind of give you an exposure of what the school looks like and so on. So we will jump right in. I have an awesome team to help out, so they will also just kind of tag team at times. If we start to see that we're lagging, I don't see it happening right now. If you see lag in the Zoom call, then I'll just ask that we stop our cameras, and then sometimes that makes it a little bit easier. But it seems like for now we're okay, so don't worry too much about it. Again, a lot of information, and then we'll be sure to get to your questions. If you're like me and don't want to forget your question, throw it in the chat box, and then we'll monitor that and make sure at the end that we get to your questions. All right, so I'm going to share my screen, and we will jump right in. Somewhere, one of these screens is our presentation. There it is. All right, if I know what I'm doing here, you all should be able to see my presentation. Loading, 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 voila. Can I get a thumbs up from those of you who see it? There it is, all right. And since, just as a heads up, if any of you are not seeing the slideshow, which is a picture of the front of our campus, because some of you are seeing it, it's most likely an issue on your side, so you might need to log out and log back in if you're not seeing the slides. Because since several of you are, we know it's kind of broadcasting. All right, so we are recording this again, so for those who know of somebody who wanted to attend and couldn't, it'll be available at another time as well. So just right out of the gates, just let me tell you, everything that we're sharing with you tonight, as far as what we intend school to look like when we do start the 2020-2021 school year, at this time is subject to change. I'm sure you're aware, in just about every industry, the rate of change due to everything that's going on is pretty remarkably fast. So we are sharing information with our best of intentions with what our plans are. Know that there's always a chance that I might come back at you, or Ms. Lohoff or somebody from our staff may come back and share updates as we receive information that is going to affect our program. So you'll see a slide on it later, but next week we're also hosting an informational session on reopening. You know, that's been a big hot topic of discussion across the state. So we don't have enough information today to confidently share anything that's certain. We think we'll have a little bit more certainty in a week, but we will host another informational session strictly on reopening. So what we wanted to do tonight was kind of show you what we would have shown you if we were able to walk you around school while we were open. So as you can see, there's a lot to Allegiance. We're proud of what we're doing, but there's a lot. We won't go over every last discussion point on here, but know that this is the type of content that we wanted you guys to just kind of wrap your heads around as you kind of become familiar with your new school. So if any of this doesn't get covered tonight, know that you can ask the question and we will be glad to make sure we answer it. Whether if we don't get to it tonight, then then we get to it at another time as well. So as we kind of jump in here, we will take a close look at some of these items and spend some more time with others, and some we won't necessarily look at tonight. We often, we do kind of prioritize based on the types of questions that we get mostly. So know that a lot of the slides are geared towards the questions we're already sort of seeing. We do get asked a bit about our curriculum. Some of our more prominent and core content area curriculums listed here. And so if you had a question around our curriculum, know that in all grade levels, in English Language Arts, we use the Lucy Calkins Readers and Writers Workshop. In our primary grades through 3rd grade, we also use the Open Court Reading Foundational Skills resources. In math, TK through 8, we use Eureka Math curriculum. And then in history and science, you see the Discovery Ed Tech Books and Studies Weekly curricula are listed here. All of our curricula are adopted by our board. They were sort of scrutinized by staff as far as what best met what's in our charter and what we knew was backed by evidence and so on. So for those who had questions on this, this is the core curriculum we use. What I didn't include in that was the content in regards to our enrichment, our Mandarin or Spanish or STEAM lab, music. Also have curricula that and obviously content that's taught there. That's not listed here. This is just a core curriculum. You'll hear this term thrown around a lot, used, think tank. Our special education program is titled Think Tank. So you hear that a lot. And our philosophy is inclusion. So if you have a child, speaking to parents here, if you have a child who receives special education services, Think Tank will be very familiar to you. It's both the team of specialists who work with your child, as well as an actual physical classroom for some students that are placed. You notice that term inclusion is on here. And what that means is our goal is that our students who receive special ed services are included as much as possible in every experience, every component that all students get. So that doesn't mean they all start there on the same day, but the goal is that they're not excluded, that they're included. And over time, they move towards that with supports. So we have students who spend a bulk of their day maybe in the Think Tank classroom, but then gradually spend more time with their general education peers in either in the general ed classroom or in enrichment. And then some are the opposite. They spend the majority of the time with general education included, then maybe get pulled out services. But our philosophy is inclusion, which means that over time, more and more, the goal is to include students more and more. So that's a little bit about our special education program. I'm definitely glossing over it. There are a lot of details. Know that we follow federal and state laws like any other public school regarding special education. So we'll kind of look at our grade levels. The TK and Kinder program are half-day programs led by fantastic teachers. There's a complement of sort of experienced teachers who've done this and have a reputation for being some of the best in the area. And then also, some teachers that they've taken on under their belt as mentors. But really, we rounded out a phenomenal TKK team. Just this last year alone and what they were able to do for TK and Kinder students in distance learning was remarkable. They kept their kids connected, engaged, came up with new ideas, all the time to make sure that learning was relevant and impactful for our kids. And this is a look at their beautiful classrooms today. We know as we're looking at guidelines for reopening, some of what you see here, like a carpet area, may not be appropriate as we reopen. Again, all of that is new learning for all of us, and we're figuring that out in real time. Yeah. So just a quick look at what the schedule looks like currently. As I shared, it is a half-day program. So we have an AM and a PM group. We can't place families by preference. We do ask if there is a preference, but that isn't a guarantee that we're able to place your kiddo based on preference. We pretty much just go in lottery in order, in the order of the lottery and offer. But if we're aware that you have a preference for one over the other, if we can accommodate, we'll do our best to accommodate, whether PM or AM works for you. So a couple of our enrichment programs we want to talk to you about. All of our students go to a STEAM lab, and we're fortunate enough to have 2 STEAM lab classrooms. One for our younger students, which we call junior STEAM lab, and then our older students as well. 3rd through 8th grade go to the larger science lab, STEAM lab. In there's a strong connection to what happens in STEAM lab to the science curriculum in the math and in the general ed classroom. So the teachers collaborate a lot together, and in STEAM lab, we get some pretty rich experiences for hands-on application, dilemmas that they tackle. They rely on the engineering design process. So our kids tackle pretty complex stuff. So you can see here, we had some students working on robotics this year. Others were designing, innovating solutions to local kind of dilemmas. A lot of opportunity to create, build, explore, fail, try it again. So kids, this is where you go and you roll up your sleeves and you create new things. You are able to design wind-powered cars. You're able to code. You're able to experiment with different types of soil and see which ones are more conducive for the types of plants you're trying to grow. There's a lot of experiments and development and design in the STEAM lab. And again, all kids go to this class. Most schedules are twice a week. Some grade levels go once a week, and so on. Again, a lot of that is up for discussion now, given the reopening kind of requirements. Our music program is definitely a shining spot in the school. Mr. Raven is magical at what he does. He can teach a 5-year-old and a 15-year-old and everywhere in between to love and grow confident in their musical abilities, from performance to, including singing, to musical instruments. We have children, in kindergarten who leave his class reading music notes and so on. It's a fantastic program, and he's trying to, he was able to figure out how to provide music and distance learning, and it was a hit, as the kids really enjoyed logging on and being able to see his classes. He has a reputation for leaving competitions with trophies. We'll see if that's ever, as soon as that's a reality for us again, we will be competing. So, and speaking as a parent at Allegiance, my own children who are now going into 5th and 7th grade, my youngest was never musically interested, and now he is passionate about it based on his experience with Mr. Raven. So just be prepared. That's what he'll bring to your children. Physical education. We have 2 dedicated PE teachers, physical education teachers. So all students participate at least once a week. A lot of the grade levels have twice a week PE. Our 7th and 8th graders get PE daily, and they also dress out for PE. They have a locker room for them. We have a locker room for them, and then they dress out for PE daily. So again, having dedicated PE teachers means that all grade levels get a quality, well thought out PE program. It's not just an add-on that, unfortunately, for our general ed teachers, when they're asked to teach PE as well, because of how busy they are, it ends up being a bit of an afterthought, and the program is not of great quality. But with 2 dedicated PE teachers, we're confident in what we're able to do with our PE program is pretty robust and exciting. They also did a fantastic job during distance learning, providing weekly PE lessons to all of our students. We do offer world languages as well. Our TK through 3rd graders take Mandarin each of the years in those grades, and then our 4th through 8th graders currently take Spanish. Our goal is that by the time our 8th graders leave to high school, that they're able to test out of Spanish 1 and into Spanish 2. So with a multi-year approach, that's where our kids are headed. So as you can see by the pictures here, it's not just a language course, or they're not just language courses. There's also a cultural component to it, which is great to expand kids' horizons and understanding of the world and their place in it. So it's another proud aspect of our school that we're really, really excited to share with all students. Our middle school program, so I'll talk a little bit about that. 7th and 8th grade, it's pretty rigorous. Our kids take there's a lot we ask them to do in regards to the courses they take. It's a very rigorous program. It's demanding, but they're also supported strongly by their teachers and the staff around them. So I'm really proud of the fact that we are reaching this balance of holding kids to really high standards, but offering them a ton of support to be able to succeed in that model. And so for a middle school the size of ours, it's only going to be 120 kids. It's not a lot of students, and that's a small middle school for the amount of offerings that we have, from a coding class to a financial literacy class, a leadership opportunity, our student yearbook. There's a lot in addition to your core classrooms, and in addition to everything I just shared with enrichment and PE and STEAM lab and so on. In addition to that, these kids take financial literacy, coding, digital literacy. So as you can see, it's a dense program. We also offer integrated Math 1, which is a high school level class. The kids who take that in 8th grade are able to go into high school already having completed their first year of high school math, and therefore can take integrated Math 2 or a geometry course, depending on the high school they go to. So believe it or not, we often get a lot of questions around our cafeteria and breakfast and so on. So due to just the resources we have a staggered lunch. Not all kids eat lunch at the same time. We do have staggered to accommodate all of them. You can see that those tables won't fit 810 students. So we do have staggered lunches. We also provide breakfast daily. And for those who are, you are able to download the School Cafe app to purchase our lunches. You can download that. I think some information you'll need will be distributed shortly as well. And then, yeah, the free and reduced lunch application for those that are eligible will be included in the welcome packet, which will allow your students to eat for a reduced rate or for free in both breakfast and or lunch. So again, with the guidelines regarding reopening, we're still there could be potential changes to what lunch looks like currently. The more, the closer we get to knowing what that will look like, we'll make sure we get that out to you. We have a before and after school program that operates on campus, but by an outside partner. They're not our employees. It's a different organization, but they work real closely with us. So we partnered with them because they intentionally connect to make sure they understand our curriculum, our STEAM intentions, and so they work to support our kids who attend before or after school, who attend their program. They have that opportunity. For those of you who are entering in TK and K, and obviously would be a part of a half-day program, they can accommodate your child during the regular school day. So what I mean by that is, if your child is in the PM program for kinder, for example, your child can come be dropped off at any time before in Think Together, and Think Together will take your kinder to the start of their kinder day. The opposite is true. If you're in our AM program, and your child gets out midday, but you're working till later in the evening, in the afternoon, Think Together will pick your child up right from their class, take them over to Think Together. So they don't have to hop on a van or a bus or anything. They're watched from the moment school gets out to you pick them up. They're supervised. You can imagine for a school with 810 students, TK through 8th grade, there's a variety of clubs and sports. This is growing. We've had competitive winning clubs like Odyssey of the Mind. We've had our first ever Snap the Gap Girls Robotics and STEM group last year, which was a hit with the girls that participated. Our VEX robotics team was competitive, and then made it to the state competition, but then that unfortunately was canceled due to the COVID closures. So that would have been excited kind of, to see how they did in their first year. We have a community-wide mileage club, which is great. Every Wednesday morning before school, you, parents, grandparents, uncles, aunts, kids, and our students are invited to run and work their way towards 100 miles and earn one of these or similar shirts for that prestigious milestone. This year, we were able to take it virtually once we closed too. So Mileage Club continued, even though school closed. We did have a couple kids reach that. So there's a variety of clubs, and we also take students. A lot of these clubs are actually student generated. So if your child has the interest in the club that doesn't exist, they just need to bring that idea forward, and we'll see if it fits within our program. So our dress code when we're at school is pretty simplistic, but it's pretty obvious that we have one, right? We have the forest green or white polos or spirit wear tops. And we look at this wonderful kindergarten class, you see kids in the forest green polos, the white polos, and then examples of spirit wear too, the t-shirts that are our school t-shirts. Notice everybody's in khaki bottoms, that's the other expectation, or black bottoms. And these are that khaki kind of material. So they could be shorts, pants, skirts, the jumpers, but the bottoms, while there's variety, there's also a uniformity to it. So we don't require at all that the school dress code is purchased from any one provider. I've seen these polos at Old Navy to Walmart to Child's Play. There are a variety of vendors so that we can accommodate all families. Spirit wear we sell exclusively, our pack. I'll talk to them about them in a moment. But the outfitting a child can be done for around $10 to $12, or more if you choose, to buy different materials. But you can see that they're plain tops and plain bottoms. We want to make sure that this is key. That dress code doesn't require the purchase of any one vendor or anything like that. That's not who we are. We want to make sure the school is accessible to everybody. So let's talk about our awesome pack. The pack is, if you have had a child in a public school, you're probably familiar with a PTA or PTO. It's a parent-teacher organization, parent-teacher association, and that separate but very much related to the school organization, usually does a lot of events and fundraising and so on. So ours is called the PAC, and that's the Parents and Community for Kids. They are phenomenal at what they do. They oversee our fundraising and a lot of our great events, some of which take place after school, some during. They've organized our fun run as a fundraiser. This is Fall Festival over here. They also put together our spring, well, we think it's going to be in the spring again, but we have a gala, and the gala is a really nice event for just parents and staff or adults. So there's a variety of events, but their one mission, is to enrich the life experience of kids of all kids at our school. So, and that's what they do. They're very transparent on where your fundraising goes. So when we did the fun run, what we wanted to get out of our first year fun run was to get filtered water stations and PE equipment, and we fundraised, met, and surpassed the goal. And then we saw the filtered station, the filtered stations and the PE equipment show up shortly after. So they're great at what they do. You're by being a parent at Allegiance, you're automatically part of the PAC. If you want to have more of a role, then you'll see correspondence go out to see how you get involved and so on. But their meetings are public. They invite you to them. Please, whether they're done in person or virtually, they're accessible to you, and they take your contributions and ideas seriously. So our PAC is definitely great. Yeah. Which is a good segue to volunteering. We really do benefit strongly from our volunteers, which look a variety of ways, from attending field trips to, helping a teacher sort and staple papers, to some other opportunities, like our eSteam room, which I'll talk a little bit about, is kind of a makerspace tinkering room. It's similar to STEAM Lab, but really with an opportunity to kind of kids just drive what they do. They go in there and they create, and they can do everything from robotics to crafts, art, a variety of ways to just kind of get creative and innovate and try things out and build and deconstruct. There's just great opportunities there. And that requires volunteers. We're not staffed, we can't staff it just yet. So we have volunteers there. To volunteer, though, we do have a couple of requirements. The first is the TB clearance, and we have the documents available to kind of explain the details of this. But to volunteer at the school, you must have a TB clearance or assessment. Your doctor would tell you that. And then a live scan fingerprinting. The forms are available on our website, and then on the front office once we open as well. And keep in mind that there's also a lot of discussion on what volunteering looks like in the era of COVID. So if there's information updates on here, we'll keep you updated as well. But know that there's no requirement on volunteering. You're not required to do X number of hours. There's nothing like that. We encourage it, and there are ways to volunteer when you're not on campus either. So if you'd love to help but you're not available to be there during the school day, then know that talk to your teachers, talk to staff, and we'll get you ways in which you can contribute to the school any other way. Again, not a requirement. We know strong schools exist because of volunteer efforts. So we welcome your ideas, your labor, your passion. We want it. And in addition to the ways that we know that you can volunteer, we also welcome your ideas as well. Cool. Okay, we might be on saturation mode, but I'll quickly go over this. And I know that we'll have to go over this again. So pick up and drop off at our school. Think about it, 810 students are being picked up and dropped off, most of them roughly about the same time. That's a lot of kids to get in and out of a school. And who knows what's coming with drop-off requirements given, reopening requirements. The first few weeks of school are tough. Not everyone follows our drop-off and pickup procedures. So people get a little frustrated. There's traffic. Cars move slower than they should. There's confusion. Once people figure out our routine, it's pretty smooth, especially considering the number of kids that get picked up and dropped off. So I'm a broken record at this time of year. I'm saying, have you done this? Did you drop off on C Street? Did you not park? Did you all the different things? And the more people figure out what we need to make it smooth, to get 810 kids off and on campus smoothly, the more smoother it goes. So these are essential. I won't go into the details of it, but know that this is something that once we're open and we're picking up and dropping off kids fairly regularly, the closer you can, the sooner you adhere to the procedures, the better off it's going to be for our kids. So more information will go out on it. I won't walk you through it. We're months away from doing it. No expectation to memorize it now. But know that if you at all find yourself frustrated with what pickup and drop off looks like at the beginning of the year, know it gets better, and know that we rely on you doing your part. You'll see staff at both pickup and drop off. Our staff are wearing bright colored vests. They're your kids' teachers. They're your kids' proctors, paraprofessionals, administrators. When we're out there in yellow vests or orange vests, we'll be friendly and we'll smile, but it's really not meeting time or conference time or catching up time. We are trying to get your kids safely to and from school. So at that time, know that we're kind of in that mode, and that's helpful as well. So again, more information to come as well. So again, the schedule being subject to change, especially as we're discussing reopening, but know that the gist of it is if you're AM, kindergarten, and if you're in grades 1st through 8th grade, we start, just at 8 or right before 8 at 7:55 and so on. We have a staggered end time, which are listed here so that we can accommodate the afternoons too. If you're looking at this going, I have a kindergartner and a 4th grader. Yeah, your kids might have a different end time to the school day. So we work with you to make sure it's feasible for you, but know that you may have a child, in 6th grade, for example, and then you have another one in 8th grade, and they have a few minute difference in their pickup time. So just know that it all comes together. We're aware of that, but with 810 students, a staggered end time makes life a little easier for everyone. And know that we also have worked with the city of Chino and Chino PD on our pickup and drop off procedures, and they also commend us for having staggered times, which helps with traffic flow. It's more people over more time rather than those same people in a little bit of time. So I won't go over this now, but know, please, when you see anything from our health office, please pay particular attention to it. This is all driven by law, and so I want to make sure that you're getting the accurate information. It's coming to you from our health office, and that you act on it so that you're not at all in jeopardy of not being able to attend the school and so on. This is an area that naturally we take seriously, especially now more than ever. So we are fortunate to have the amazing Gina Willux head our health office, and she is knowledgeable well beyond her title here and so on, and our entire community benefits from it. We also often get asked about this, especially with siblings on the wait list. So some of you in a situation where one of your children got into Allegiance, but the sibling, your child's sibling, your other child was waitlisted. And right now you see, wow, my kid's like 70th on the wait list. I don't think he's ever going to get in. What happens on the first day of school, once my scenario was your kindergartner gets in, the sibling that was like 70th will automatically move ahead of anybody who's on the wait list who's not a sibling. So because they have a sibling priority. But it can't kick in until your child's enrolled. And enrolled in this context means that they're attending the school. So school has to be in session. So again, that scenario, you've got 2 kids, a kindergartner, maybe a 4th grader. The kindergartner got in, but that 4th grader got waitlisted pretty far back. Once the kindergartner starts school, the 4th grader will move up on the wait list ahead of anybody who's not a sibling. They will be behind other siblings possibly, but they'll be in a better position. And that's intended to obviously keep families, keep kids together in the same school, siblings in the same school. Again, a lot of info, so feel free to ask about that, and our whole team will help with that. I'll zoom past this. We often get questions around this. Know that we will kind of give you the highlights here and so on. We only include the sexual health component of the curriculum in 8th grade, and the curriculum has been set with staff parent input, and you get the opportunity to opt in or out of your child in or out of that, and that before it's taught. So this year we're unable to teach it because of closure. So for anyone who's got an 8th grader coming in 8th grade, you'll have that opt-in, opt-out opportunity before the curriculum is taught. Yeah. So talk a little bit about our virtual learning, because this is a very real possibility going into next year. We don't know yet if we'll start the school year. You know, there's talk about, even if we don't start the school year in distance learning, that if there's a second, you know, there's a second wave that's concerning with COVID, that we may return to distance learning. So know that I'm going to brag about our team here for a minute first. You know, we closed on March 13th, a Friday. March 16th was the first day in which we would have been closed. On that day, we were already issuing devices to 100% of our kids and sending learning resources home to kids. We did that all the way through the last day of school. Our teachers taught live lessons every day of the school year. There was no downtime for Allegiance from closing on March 13th to when we started doing live lessons virtually or providing distance learning. We're fortunate enough to be in a position where we have more devices than we have kids, and we have hotspots for families who need Wi-Fi. So we were able to do that immediately. I know, you know, that hasn't been the case for a lot of other schools just due to resources and other challenges, but there was no days off for our staff, for our kids. We were able to jump right in and do that. We do have resources. You'll see them here. One's called Seesaw and the other Google Classroom. These are great tools that keep kids organized digitally. Seesaw both works great for kids, but it's also an app you can download on your smartphone, and you will be instantly connected to your classroom. You'll get classroom updates from there. You'll see your student work. You'll be able to comment on it. So you'll be able to stay connected, whether we're in distance learning or not. You'll be able to use the tools that we've already had in place to make sure that you're staying connected to your child's classroom and their own work. Much more on that, but hopefully we can not discuss it for a while, right? So again, we want to make sure that you had the opportunity to learn more about what reopening looks like. So on the evening of June 17th, we'll have a Zoom like this. We'll do our best to kind of give as much information we have at that time. And again, you're going to hear me say it again. Everything I share is going to be subject to change because things are evolving, you know, by the minute, as they have been for the last few months, and nothing is certain at this time. A week from now, we'll have greater understanding, but again, I will be telling you the same thing, that stay tuned because there could be more updates. But know that, you know, I think if anything, this time has revealed that I'm really proud of what we were able to do. We were able to adjust instantly and make sure that our program didn't really take a hit. You know, a lot of schools are figuring out how to make up for this lost instructional time. We don't feel that that's the case with most of our kids. Most of our kids were able to continue learning. I can't say at an identical rate, obviously, as being in the class, but not far off given the conditions. So I'll be glad to share more and more about what distance learning looked like for us, but I know that that's looking backwards and you're interested in what's ahead. So, but do join us on this date, and we'll be sure to give you tons more information as far as what reopening can look like. So before we go to Q&A, I want to make sure Diana and, before we go to Diana and Tammy, Ms. Lohoff, before we do that, just obviously you're here because you're connected to us in one of these ways. We do have a strong presence on social media, so follow us there on Instagram or Facebook. You probably received an email invitation to this event. Our website's is undergoing a facelift now, so it'll look very different soon. A lot of the same content, but organized differently. And please do attend our board meetings. We'll have a special board meeting June 22nd, and it will be done virtually like this. Once we're able to kind of have them on site, we hold them in our den. That's our multi-purpose room. We welcome you to attend. We do encourage public attendance at the board meetings. We do our business in public. We are a transparent organization and want you to be, if you don't know what the answer is to a question about Allegiance, we at least want you to know where to go get it. And that's how we operate. We're proud of that. So with that, Ms. Lohoff, Ms. Urbina, any glaring misses that I'm fully capable of missing things? So anything there I missed? Cool. Okay. So if we unmute ourselves and ask questions, it's going to be hectic. So what I'm going to ask you to do is, if you do have questions, what we'll ask you to do is just go ahead and and put it in the chat box, and we'll go from there. So, Miss Urbina, Diana's going to speak as soon as I unmute her.
Can you hear me okay? Dr. Cognetta, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so I was just going to mention just a few things for the TK and the kinder families. The teachers will reach out to all of you and have a meeting with you, whether it's in person if they're going to be able to, or virtually, just to explain the whole TK and kindergarten program. That way you'll be able to ask questions, as well as they'll give more details in regards to drop off and pickup. As far as AM or PM goes, try to notify you by the middle of July about that. In regards to our health office, if there's anything in regards to immunizations that's outstanding for your child, you should have already received notification from Gina Willocks, the health technician. So if you have not received anything from her via email or text, then you're okay. So just make sure that you check your SchoolMint settings to make sure that you are receiving texts and emails, because you have control of that. So there's a way that you guys can either say, no, I don't want to get texts or emails. So just make sure that they're set up so that you don't miss any important notifications. Let me think if there's anything else. I think that was all I wanted to mention.
That was a lot, huh, guys? Sorry. It's like drinking from a fire hose. But we, just also know this is not the only time that you'll hear this information. But since we weren't able to provide you the in-school tour, we wanted to at least give you the same information, in a format that we felt would be conducive. So,
Actually, Dr. Cognetta, I'm sorry, I forgot one more thing. Families, as you know, we did have you scan over all of your documents because we couldn't meet in person. Some of you did not have access to scanners, and some of you had to take pictures, which is acceptable considering the circumstances. But just know that there are certain documents that we have to print and keep on file, and there's some of them that came through as photos that I won't be able to print out just because it's not a clear copy. So you might be getting a notification from me that you'll have to come in with the actual document so I can make a clear copy of it. So I'm just letting you know ahead of time that you might hear from me, and I might need for you to bring that so that we can make sure that the files are the way they're supposed to be. Sorry, Dr. Cognetta, that's it.
No, that's perfect. Thank you. Huge. Now you got a good sense of how thorough Miss Diana Urbina is. We are so grateful she leads the front office. Just so you know, like, we closed and your registration went off without a hitch, right? Here you are, ready to start the school year. That's due to Diana's work ethic, her vision for what it takes to take a school from being classroom-based and then doing everything from distance, learning, and also running an office, virtually. So thank you, Ms. Urbina. You rock. You know that. And Ms. Lohop, do you have anything to add that?
There's a couple of questions that you might want to, you were pretty comprehensive, so I was rather impressed.
Yeah.
But Jacob would like to know, he's got two questions. If the kids do online school for the first time going to kindergarten, they're questioning about devices.
Great question, Jacob. Yes, so so know that we'll continue to have more devices than we have kids, so we'll be in good shape if we have to go back to distance learning. Our 7th and 8th graders take computers home with them daily anyways. Our 6th graders on down, they have access to devices at school. But in distance learning, we sent them home with kids, right? And now most of them have been returned. We have a couple kids who are holding on to them for our summer program, but the idea is that they're ours, right? They come back to us. So Jacob, to answer your question, if we have to return to distance learning, which requires online learning, we have a device available for your child. So if you don't have one at home for them, that's fine. We have one for them to use and then return to us at the end of the school year or when we come back. And at kindergarten, we have either a Chromebook or iPad. We have iPads and Chromebooks dedicated to kindergarten and TK. First grade on up, we'll have Chromebooks for kids.
All right, your next question is from Ms. Terry Chen. She wants to know in regards to the dress code. Are dresses allowed, and if so, what color?
Yeah, I'm gonna need one of you to clarify, but those jumpers are those dresses, right?
The skort, yeah, the skirts,
Or-
the skirts that have the little shorts underneath, or the jumper that kind of looks kind of like a halter, but you still do have to wear the polo underneath.
Also, the older kids, particularly middle school, some of them do choose to wear a skirt, but they have shorts that they wear underneath that are color matching.
Yes. Great.
All right, we have Jennifer Tome. Please let me know if I have mispronounced your name. She has a son coming into first grade. She's curious if there are any Mandarin materials to help get her child up to speed.
Yeah, we don't have any that we provide. I'm sure Miss Lynn has stuff that she could recommend. I definitely don't want your child feeling behind if they're coming into first grade and jumping into Mandarin. They won't be. The class is suited for someone who's not had a year of Mandarin with us. It's not a concern of mine. So if possible, Jennifer, if you can email me, I can put you in contact with Miss Leon, the teacher, and she may have resources for you. But I definitely don't want you feeling like your child's playing catch up. That's not the case.
All right, and Ms. Janelle wants to know for the TK class, is the schedule only in the afternoons,
Yes,
as indicated?
correct. So you caught that correctly. So we have three kinder classrooms, one TK class. So that means we have 2 AM kinder classes, 1 PM kinder class, and the other PM class is TK. So really at this point, we only offer the TK and the PM.
Okay, we have a parent whose child was in Montessori for kindergarten and is now going into first grade. And they're concerned what their child should already know.
So they'll be joining us in first grade. We'll be screening at the beginning of the year to see, and it's not a pass-fail test. It's just we want to know what they already know as they come in. This is true for all kids, the kids that came from our kinder program, kids who didn't come from ours. We just do that. It's a universal screening. It's a practice that a lot of schools use. We do the same. Some of the things we're looking for, though, in math, maybe the counting sequence, can they count to close to 100, around 100 correctly? Do they have that kind of counting correspondence? If they see 5 objects, can they count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? In regards to reading, they don't need to be reading fluency starting first grade fluently. A couple of things we look for that might be an indicator that they're ready for first grade is, do they know the typical letter sounds, right? Can they blend them into simple words like cat, like, let's say, I don't know, fit, there's just simple words that with their most common spelling sounds. These are some of the look fors in exiting kinder and coming into first. But if some of these things are missing, then it's our job to, together work with you to get them where they need to be. Ms. Lohoff, anything to add to that kinder or first?
No, just that we do screenings and benchmarks so that we can identify where your student may need either catch up or is already excelling, so that our academics and our instruction are aligned to the needs of your child.
And I'll jump back. I saw Danielle Villalobos. Yes, the meeting is being recorded, so we'll have it available to you shortly as well. Sorry that you're kept out of it for a little bit. So we'll make sure
Could you also address the immunization and communication, how it's going to be coming out from Gina?
Yeah, I'll give that one to Diana.
There was a question about that, Mrs. Lohoff?
Yes, there is. From Carmen. She'd like to know that her daughter's coming in for kinder, and when is the immunization report and dental report needed to be submitted?
Okay, so she should have received an email from Miss Gina. If you would like to send me a quick email at info@asathrive.org, just to send me a quick reminder, that's info, I-N-F-O, @asathrive.org. Just send that over, and then I'll get it to Miss Gina, and I'll have her reach out to you. And Dr. Cognetta, there was one on here that said, what if I did the scan already? I'm assuming that this person means scanning the documents. So if you had a scanner and you scanned the documents, that's fine. I was just talking about families that had to actually take a picture and send it over. Those are the ones that I'll be reaching out. So if any of the documents are not clear, I'll reach out to you. So if you don't hear from me, then then you're fine. And also the question about the dress, they asked what color, that would be beige for dress, the skirts and the halter dress.
So,
All right. And also Think Together is available to TK, I believe.
correct.
Good.
And then there was a question, Jessica's question around languages. So Mandarin and Spanish are currently taught at Allegiance. The way we do it now is TK through 3rd grade is Mandarin and 4th grade on up is Spanish. We're not really at the size yet of the school to be able to have options, right, or choice. So we do primary grades Mandarin, and then elementary through middle school, we provide Spanish. And
Okay.
yeah, the Galaxy Note question, right? Yes, there will be a separate orientation for TK and K. So be on the lookout for that.
There is another TK question. Janelle says that she saw on the website that there will be an assessment for students in December to identify if they can be moved into the K class. Is that correct?
No.
That wouldn't have come from us. So no, I don't know where.
Yeah, maybe it was a different website, but we definitely don't have that one. If you can send me a quick email and let me know where you saw that. We don't have that anywhere on our website. Yeah.
Yeah, our TK program is specific by age, right? Being having a birthday between September 2nd and December 2nd. So readiness, and I know we get some TKers who come in and the reading and so on. We get that, but we don't provide an assessment to move them in grade levels. Let's see. Could you clarify the Nick's question, pickup procedure for 1st graders? Would they be standing behind gates with supervision? Yes, thank you for asking that. They are behind gates on, if you're familiar with our campus, Oak Street has a long driveway that you would come in and out of. So the kids are behind the gate on our campus, and there's a staff member at the gate. When they see, and it takes a little while to recognize you and your car and so on and connecting to the kid. But what happens is we see you pull up and we know you're little Jimmy's parent, and we'll say, Jimmy, come over here, and Jim will stand up from his little spot, walk over to the gate, and only be allowed out right when your car door is open. So it's pretty well supervised. And as you can imagine, at first that goes a little slow, but then it gets pretty smooth and so on. The only exceptions to that is when a 1st grader has an older student and sibling, and you have agreed to allow them to walk to the front of the school. We also supervise them until the front of the school, and then they meet their sibling, maybe a 4th grader, a 6th grader, whatever it may be, and now they're with their sibling on the front lawn area of campus before they get picked up. We also have staff out there. It's a little different. It's a wide open space, but our 1st graders and through 4th grade, right, did I get that right? To 4th grade? Did we change that? Someone will clarify. But our younger students get picked up on Oak Street with the supervision that I just described.
It's TK through 3 on Oak Street.
Yes, and also our TK and Kinder, you'll get it when you go to that orientation because it depends on the AM, PM, but that's walk up to our gate, whether it's the front of school gate, Kinder, or the Oak Street gate, you are walking up to pick them up. So we hand them off to you at that moment. They don't leave the campus any other way.
And if we need to clarify any of that, you will receive all of the information in the welcome packet. We make sure to give you all that information. Since we have more students next year than we have this year, we might have to make a slight adjustment to those grade levels as far as, Oaks and C Street.
Correct, yeah.
All right,
Yeah,
campus family, 1st graders, if they come for breakfast, they would be with all students that are coming for breakfast from 7:30 to 7:55 or so. In the meantime, 1st graders have their breaks. Those two are a bit staggered, as well as their lunch hours. So they are not necessarily with any of the considerably older kids. They're kind of with children of their own age. Another question that was there is, once the school is reopened, will all staff and students be required to wear masks in school? We don't know what those guidelines are at this point. We're still waiting on direction ourselves, but we will be in compliance with whatever those guidelines are. So, and that information, of course, would be shared to you as well. Hopefully more of that will be known come next week on the 17th. Any other questions?
Yeah, there was a question about AM or PM. So we will notify TK and K families probably in the middle of July, as far as whether your child will be an AM or PM. And then as far as that scan for the background, Dr. Cognetta. Do you want to explain how we need a live scan ourselves and we can't use others?
Yes, thank you. So, yeah, Elizabeth asked something about the live scan. So some of you have done that elsewhere for like coaching sports or maybe for a different school. The way those work is anybody who takes live scan reports, we have an account with the Department of Justice, the DOJ. We are not allowed to share your reports with anybody else. So the same thing is true if you were coaching an AYSO and you did live scan for them, or Little League Baseball, or at Chino Valley Unified, they're not going to share your live scan reports with us. So even though you did live scan for them, maybe even just last week, you will be doing one with us should you want to volunteer and so on. It's just the way it works. So the good news is once you've done it with us, you're done. You don't have to do it again. It's not like an annual thing. Once you have live scan, you're in our system and you're done. But you will have to do one for us.
Are there, I don't see any other questions.
Did we miss any?
Oh, there you go.
Yes. EpiPen. Peanut allergy question. Does the school know how to administer EpiPen? Yeah, we have EpiPens that are not prescribed to any specific students or here for emergency purposes. We have them available, and we have staff trained who know how to administer them as well. So in addition, we know we have kids who have EpiPens prescribed to them, and we may have one of theirs stored with us, but we also have our own that are ready to administer should we need to do that. For Nick, for new students, is there an approximate date when we would receive confirmation of registration after sending the documents? Dan, you want to speak to that?
So as of right now, unless you barely registered your child today, everything's updated. So once we do finish everything, you should receive something from Illuminate Education saying that the registration has been approved. That's just an automatic that goes through once we get everything in our system. So make sure you check your junk and your spam folders. And if you can't find that approval, go ahead and send me an email and I'll confirm with you. But as of right now, everybody's 100% in that we've been given offers to, except for maybe one.
Campus family, how big? So our class size average is 30 to 1 in all grade levels. That's our class size. So to answer the question, how big is first grade class for this coming year? Every class is 30 to 1, 30 students per teacher. Once open, do you have a meet the teacher day? Yeah, so normally we have an opportunity to meet your wolf pack, and we do it in the week before school. You do come by, you meet your teacher and so on. Again, we hope to be able to do that. We'll see as all the guidelines, what that entails. You will meet your teacher before the school day. I hope it's in person. If it's not, you'll know how it'll happen. But my hope is that it's in person. I think we can do it. So will we be getting supply lists, or are they available online? So great question. At this time, we normally would have it, but we are a little reluctant to put it out given that we don't know what reopening looks like. So again, we'll give that more thought and see if there's just some things, because once July hits, some of that stuff is gone, right? So so we will probably maybe do a lighter list of things that if you buy them, they would also work if you just have to stay home, right? The kid has to stay home. So give us a little moment to work on that, and we'll give you a current supply list for the times.
Dr. Cognetta, when the meeting is recorded, will people see these chats, or they won't see the chats, will they?
That is a fantastic question. I don't know. I know it's part of, what is available though is the chat is also recorded separately as a different file. We can include it linked to the video, and then someone, if they want to, they could read through it.
Okay, because somebody had asked if the TK and Ks have their own restroom, and yes, they do. In the classroom, there's a restroom in the classroom for them.
There's a question about the size of the special education class, and we have about 13% of our students across the whole school receive special ed services. That doesn't mean that's one class, obviously. Most of the students are in the general education classrooms, but there are a few who are in our think tank classroom. class size last year of that class was 6 students. I think we know that it's possibly going to be 8 or 9 next year, right? Around there, yeah. And that is, again, the special day class. These are good questions, guys. Well, if there are no other questions, I want to, Ms. Lohoff, want to share any parting thoughts?
No, just that I'm as excited as everybody else to get started with the school year. You know, we're making all kinds of tentative plans, hoping we could just jump on and be ready to go. We're very anxious to meet our new wolves.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you. Ms. Diana, I saw that last question. I'll answer it momentarily, but Ms. Diana, anything to add?
Nope, that's it. You did very well, Dr. Cognetta. I'm proud of you.
That's coming from boss lady.
Yeah, exactly. That is my boss, so her approval, I'll take it. So, but yeah, I guess my last thoughts, I just wanted to share, you're joining us at clearly an interesting time, right? Coming onto our school at an interesting time. We're really honored that you're here, that you're choosing us. Know that, you know, this is a dedicated staff. We are real exclusive on who we bring onto our team, and obviously as we're growing to bring on our new families, when we looked at our potential colleagues and, you know, people who would work with us and teach your children, we look for people who want to be a part of a great school as much as we are, as much as Ms. Diana is, as much as Ms. Lohoff is. And that's what we believe we found, and that's what you're experiencing in our team. And I think it was evident, and it was evident before the closures, but it was even more so when we closed, that our people went to work even harder. So I'm really proud of that. And you're also catching us at an interesting time. Ms. Lohoff is leaving the classroom. She taught in our middle school and is stepping into the principal role, which means I'm stepping out of the principal role. And as such, you know, I'll be operating in the CEO level. I have a hard time staying out of the day-to-day. I love knowing your kids by name. I love knowing you by name. So you'll see me around. But Ms. Lohoff is the school principal. So most of, you know, the questions that you might have about the school are going to go to her. So we're in transition. So if you find me answering a question that really needs to go to her, you can tell me shame on you, and then remind me that I'll do my best to remind me to send you to Ms. Lohoff. But just know that you're also catching us at this interesting growth time where we have a new school leader running the school day to day, Ms. Lohoff, and then someone who's learning how to step out of that in me. So, but we will make it as smooth as possible for you, and know that, you know, at the end of the day, anyone on our staff is really focused on making sure that your experience and your child's is nothing but extraordinary. That's the team I'm proud that we put together, and is awaiting you guys in this new school year. So there were a few more questions, so I might as well answer them before we close out, right? Or Ms. Lohoff, you want to take these? Let's see.
The first one is where and when can we purchase ASA shirts? So that would be our spirit wear. And as soon as we figure out, again, what this beginning is going to look like, our pack does make available sale times. So that sometimes after school, sometimes on Fridays, and particularly they try to make themselves more available even at the beginning of the year. If we get lucky enough to have a Meet Your Teacher Day in person, then they also set up then so that you would be able to access those purchases.
Correct. I see a question for Diana, I think. How soon I think this is for you. How soon?
So
Yeah.
In regards to AM or PM, we'll send that out around the middle of July. And then as far as kinders having lunch at school, they have snacks at school, and they're welcome to have breakfast. So depending on the time that your child's going to go, you would either give them lunch before or after. And then I think there was another question about
Chinese.
how often Chinese is taught.
Yes.
And
so it's taught twice a week. Some grade levels may have it once a week, but once or twice a week for all students.
K through 3.
Not daily, unfortunately. Yeah. Did we catch those then?
Yeah, just about the link. So I'll be sending that tomorrow to everybody, so that if you need to watch it again, you can, or somebody in your family missed it, they can watch it.
Absolutely. Yeah, and thanks for accommodating this new normal, right, of how we communicate with one another. So we really appreciate that. Another question from Elizabeth: when can I stop by to start the live scan to grab? We should grab the forms online, right, Diana?
Yeah, so if you go under resources on our website, you can download the form. You would take that form to any live scan place that you'd like, and then that form, they're going to fill some information out, and you can scan and just email it to me, info@asathrive.org, and then they will notify us, with the results.
Yes, correct. And yes, Chinese Mandarin is taught to TK. Correct. Yeah. Thank you, Juliet. Yeah, we'll be at that. Yeah. Well, thank you. Yeah, it is really exciting to welcome you to the school, and we are really, again, we're honored to be able to provide our school to you and all the great offerings that we have. We're really excited about what this new year could bring. We'll get through whatever's ahead of us together. We proved that the last few years. So know that we're available to you. We're an email, phone call away. And yeah, looking forward to one day soon seeing you all in person. Thank you so much for joining us. We will make this available for those who need to see it, meet again. Kids,
Bye.
bye. Wonderful.
Bye, hon.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Everyone.
Everyone.
Thank you so much. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. And leave me.